Hello everyone, my name is BlackMask1, and of course you're watching Diamond Top Gaming. Today we're going to be doing another deck profile. I wanted to go ahead and try out the Nicelands deck that I made a while back. Generally this deck can really be a hit or miss. Like, I've completely devastated people with this deck, but then I've also been devastated by this deck. So it really just depends, I guess, on just how lucky you are. Since this deck doesn't have a lot of doubles, it mainly just has singles. That's simply because I haven't been able to, I generally like to just collect the cards, but if I have one of them, to me, that's enough. So it really just depends. Like, if it's my corn card, I do try to actively seek out more cards, that way I can have 3 of a kind in it. Whereas these other decks that I make that we just kind of try out, I generally don't try to, buy them simply because Card Wars is kind of expensive, at least to buy singles. But anyway though, I'll go ahead and start. We're going to start with as always, the creatures. Now this deck doesn't have a single Nicelands creature, so we're going to go ahead and kick it off with Knit Kitten. Now, of course, this deck is based all around killing your own monsters and healing them, so it really just depends. Of course, this is one of the strongest Nicelands creatures that they have, is that hedgehog. Now, next, of course, is Music Mallard. Now, this one I wouldn't say is really the best, but, this is one of those creatures where if it has a lot of damage on it, you can, really do a lot with it. Since you get to draw 2 cards instead of just 1. Angel of the Chocolate, a good card simply because you can always heal it, but you have to pay an action though, and that's the thing about this deck. This deck is really expensive, so if you don't get a really good amount of 1 costing creatures, you're kind of screwed. But another decent card, of course, Adore Bunny. I like it, but if it has to have a lot of damage. Like, I try to put a Celestial Castle next to this one, that way you can live longer. But next, of course, we have Lovable Lamb. A very good card that I like is Wall of Chocolate, simply because it has such a high amount of damage if it doesn't have any damage on it. So this is the one that I heal a lot. Next, we have Giddy Giraffe. We have 2 of these for once. We only have 1 sewn slot, but I am working on getting another one because this card is a really good support one, but I hate how hefty the cost is for it. That's the only thing that I can't stand about it. We have 1 Overstuffed Orangutan. Like I said, a lot of these are 2 costings. We have 2 Apple Pie Clops. We have Cotton Pult. Now, I put this one in here because it has a cool ability where you can kind of target any creature, but I just don't like that, it's kind of weak. But it is cheap, so that's, Snake Mint's a good one because it can heal you. A Nicesaurus Rex, another good card that I'm working on getting another one for this deck because it's just such a good card. We have 2 Dr. Stuffensteins. It's an okay card. I believe you can, let me make sure. Yeah, you can always heal, you get to heal your, adjacent creatures, so that's always a good card to have in combination with things like, your hedgehog or just really any of these, to be honest, because these really, the more they stay on the field, the more they hurt your opponent. Now, one of the best support cards, but it is so expensive, is the Shepherd. I love the Fairy Shepherd, but it's just so expensive. I just don't know if I can. I mean, it's just such an expensive price, but it gives you 2 damage for all your creatures that it's adjacent to. So, I like it, but I wish they had made it just a 1 costing creature. One of the best cards though, Sack of Pain. This is the one that you really need to use with, the healing cards, such as Dr. Stuffenstein and things like that. Cutie Koala, we only run 1 though. Like I said, a lot of these I've only been able to get 1 of. Furious Rooster. Now this is like a better card of the Furious Hen. However, an even better card on top of the Furious Rooster is the Furious Hen, which has 10 defense. But they all have the same ability. Except, of course, he costs 2. Next, we have Pie Clops. Another good card. And last but not least, just to heal you personally, is of course a cutie. So these of course they're, you know, all of the monsters for our Nicelands deck. Now, like I said, this is kind of just a jumbled up mess, but like I said, it's really a hit or miss. Like, I've completely beaten people and I've completely been beaten. It just depends on how lucky I guess you go. You need to kind of, like in any of the, you know, any of your profile decks, you really need to try and get like a good ratio of 2s and 1 costing creatures. Now let's go ahead and get into the buildings. They only have 2. We only have 2 rainbow creature or rainbow buildings in this deck, so I'm going to go ahead and show them out. Of course, it's a Blood Fortress and a Celestial Castle. I'm probably going to put more Celestial Castles into this deck simply because a lot of my creatures need to be able to survive longer than a few hits. But next we have a Ball Beam Bomba. A good card, but like I said, the expense on these are just outrageous. We have a Pillow Fortress, a Windmill of Health, of one I really love. The Big Hen House, another good one. Auto Plucker, once again, one I like as you can heal. And now those are just all of the buildings. So we have quite a few, but you know, some are pretty expensive, like the Ball Beam Bomba, but they have good abilities. So anyway, now let's work on the spells. I don't know what I was thinking. We only have 1 rainbow card as always. It's Friendship Bracelet, a 0 costing 1, very good. You can of course shift some damage, so if you need one to have a lot of damage on it, you can shift one from one that you don't want to die. We don't have many spell cards in this deck, but we have 1 Pentade, a good card, heals 5, exactly 5. We have Pie Storm. We have Stuffed, good card. Patchwork, I like this one too because it's very similar to Friendship Bracelet. A very good card, Blue Candy. And of course, last one is Ring of Fluffy. A very good card, but kind of steep in price. That's the only thing I don't really like about it. But anyway, that is our deck profile for the Nicelands deck. I was trying to say fluffy deck. But normally what I do with this one, I normally go with probably, well, to be honest, I use Magic Man for this deck simply because there's so many 2 costing cards in it. Others that you could maybe use with it, I think of course I've used, I've used Fiona with this deck before, and I believe someone has used Cake with it before, so you know, it just kind of depends. I use Magic Man, but since I always hog Magic Man in our matches, you know, if someone's fighting me, they can't actually use it, so you know, that's just kind of how it goes. But anyway, though, if you have any questions, though, everyone, go ahead and leave your comments down below. You know, and if you have any comments, questions, or even you know, deck profiles that you'd like us to do for some of ours that we've shown on the channel, you can go ahead and leave those, you know, those comments down below. But as always, though, I'm Black Mask 1, and you've been watching Diamond Top Gaming.